Did I not raise you for better? How many times have I told you you have to be what? You have to be what?
Twice.
What?
Twice as good.
Twice as good as them to get half of what they have.
The Oscar goes to One Battle After Another.
You know it's dirty when the sink dirty. Nowadays you 13, you gotta think 30.
I've been trying to find a way to talk about Sinners for a long time. I remember seeing it in theaters and loving it, but I must have waited too long because it seems like every possible lens of analysis has been exhausted. But as someone who wants to be in the film and television industry, and someone who recently had an experience learning more about what the industry demands, I've realized I have thoughts. Every time a major black film comes out, it seems to carry a burden. It isn't allowed to just be good or bad. It has to save Hollywood. It has to prove itself, and by extension, prove that people want to see more films like it. And if it fails, even slightly, it somehow becomes evidence that black stories don't sell. I'm fascinated by the reason for this burden, and why, even in the face of undeniable success, it seems like the burden only gets heavier. But is it by coincidence, or by design? Let's get into it. This is the crux of it all.
My parents was like that, because in my neighborhood, there used to be some beautiful black man would come through the neighborhood dressed in African, really nice, and they'd be peace, love, black is beautiful. Remember the essence of life. We are people of the universe. Life is beautiful. My parents go, that's crazy.
I've always been fascinated by the great black sitcom drought of the late 2000s. After the golden age, networks like UPN and the WB, which were known for airing a number of black sitcoms, experienced a slow decline, ultimately causing their merging to become the CW. It's the same kind of shift we're seeing now, with BET Plus being dissolved into Paramount. And so began The Purge. Everybody Hates Chris and Girlfriends were the only two shows to survive the merger, but the move essentially killed both shows. And that's before you get into the obscure sitcoms no one even remembers existed. A moment of silence for the Hughleys. And for a while, that was it. Shows like Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, and Modern Family ushered the network sitcom into a new era, and black shows weren't a part of it. Until the Obama era.
And during that time, this was the Obama years, so I felt like the television industry was more open to we want to see black stuff. Black is so popular. Scandal was on the air and killing it at the time.
Yeah. But that was really one of the only ones, weirdly, I think.
Of black shows?
Kind of, because this was also post-writer strike, because I remember being on Girlfriends in 2008. And after the 2008 strike, they canceled a lot of black shows. And The Game, I think, was the only one on, really until Scandal kind of came back in 2012, 2013. So you're right, it was the Obama years of wanting, hey, where are all the black people?
With the Obama era, it seemed like networks were suddenly interested in telling black stories again. With a caveat. Shonda Rhimes' colorblind casting philosophy helped add more diversity to shows like Grey's Anatomy and, of course, Scandal. And then there's Blackish. I'll probably do a full retrospective on Blackish one day. There's so much to unpack, and I think the show's creators wanted it that way. Over the show's 8 seasons, Blackish tackled a number of uncomfortable issues and received plenty of both praise and criticism, from the places you'd expect, but also from the places you wouldn't. Personally, I think the show had the hardest job on television. It had to talk about black issues in a way that would feel familiar to black audiences, while still filling white audiences in on the joke. It had to wrestle with messy systemic issues while still wrapping everything up in a neat bow. It had to be for all black people all at once while still appealing to white audiences. Sound familiar? Blackish was dealt an impossible task to represent all of, or at least as much of, the black community as possible in a favorable but still honest way, to prove that audiences would, in fact, tune in to watch a show about a black family with no strings attached. And the show did succeed, at least most of the time. It survived for 8 years through a changing nation and changing appetites from audiences about how diversity should be depicted. But when it did falter, and it did, it was easy to forget just how much was on the line. In reality, it was never fair to expect Blackish to do everything, at least not within the constraints of 22 minutes of network time. I think people forget that Blackish aired on ABC, and they got away with, a lot. But they had to do all they could within the limits they were never going to be able to break out of. And sometimes that meant the results weren't perfect. But zooming out, Blackish did a lot for Black representation on television, more than it gets credit for. There's this unofficial trifecta of Black TV shows from the 2010s, Blackish, Insecure, and Atlanta, that expanded the idea of what Black TV could look like. Without them, we don't get Found. We don't get Harlem, or Watson, or The Carmichael Show, or Lovecraft Country. Oh. Okay, so maybe those were bad examples because all of those shows were canceled within 3 seasons or less. The Vince Staples Show, How to Die Alone, Run the World, The Wonder Years, these are just some of the Black shows canceled in 2 seasons or less from the past 5 years alone. Compare this to the white shows that aired during the 2010s on network television. Shows like 30 Rock and Parks and Recreation were able to secure 7-season runs despite middling ratings. That's not to say those shows didn't deserve that kind of grace, but it's the exact kind of grace Black shows are rarely, if ever, afforded. It's the same for Black movies. Look at the trifecta of Black films released in the past year. Is God Is, You, Me, and Tuscany, and I Love Boosters. You, Me, and Tuscany had the pressure of saving the Black rom-com on its release. Is God Is was released on the same day as Obsession, and, well, we all know how that went. And I Love Boosters, a film with an explicitly revolutionary message, suffered from a lack of marketing and exposure, to the point that its own director had to take to social media to promote it. Why is it that despite receiving positive critical reviews, the financial success of these films was all anyone could focus on? Why did it feel like the entirety of Black Hollywood's hopes and dreams were resting on them? And why is it that despite Black audiences proving time and time again that they do, in fact, show up in droves to watch Black movies, they still have to prove themselves every time something new comes around?
Here's the frustrating thing about Black cinema. If you don't watch the rom-com You, Me, and Tuscany, then Nina Serafina movie ain't never gonna come out. And I believe that person told her that. If you don't watch Is God Is, then you're never gonna get another Black horror film. If you don't watch I Love Boosters, you'll never get another Boots Riley film, another Afro-futuristic, type of film. But when you do watch them, like you watch Sinners don't beget 10 new Sinners. Sinners could do 200 million. It ain't like, oh snap, we should make all these type of things. When you watch Black Panther and it gets $1 billion, it don't beget a whole bunch of new Black superhero movies. So it's like, no matter how many times you do it and it does well, it don't beget no new things. But if it don't do well, it's the justification for not getting no new things. Either way, you don't get no new thing. Either way.
Let's use some more successful examples. One of them days was incredibly financially successful. Why are there no new Black buddy comedy movies in development? Girls Trip made $140 million on a $19 million budget. There hasn't been anything like it since. And it's not just Black films. Why is it that after the undeniable success of Crazy Rich Asians, there hasn't been a revolution in Asian romantic comedies, or even just films with predominantly Asian casts? Why are diverse films held to such a higher standard without receiving a larger benefit? Okay, that's a lot of questions at once. But this is where, at last, we come back to Sinners. I'm sure by now you don't need me to tell you about Sinners. It's a Southern Gothic, supernatural, historical, horror, musical, action comedy that was released to near universal acclaim and became a financial smash. Let me tell you, the months leading up to the Oscars were not fun. The amount of think pieces I saw about how Sinners deserved Best Picture but probably wouldn't win, or whether or not it was better than One Battle After Another or Marty Supreme, it was exhausting. There were people genuinely saying that Michael B. Jordan deserved Best Actor because he played 2 characters and Timothée Chalamet only played 1. I remember when people were saying he played 4 characters because there was Smoke as a vampire, and then I'm getting off track. I also remember when the nominations came out, and Sinners was nominated for a whopping 16 Oscars, more than any other film, including Titanic, and including La La Land, but we'll come back to that later. There's so much to unpack about the awards season that led up to the Oscars, but I will never forget how people were foaming at the mouth to discredit Sinners at any chance they could. Since the film got the most nominations of all time, there were suddenly no complaints to be made about diversity or merit, ignoring the fact that the Oscars have spent decades shutting out black films. Films like The Color Purple, Malcolm X, and Boys in the Hood were all nominated, but ultimately walked away empty-handed. In the case of Do the Right Thing, which is now considered to be one of the greatest films, black or not, of all time, the film was shut out almost completely at the awards, leading to a particularly memorable onstage moment.
We've got 5 great films here, and they're great for one reason, because they tell the truth. But there is one film missing from this list that deserves to be on it, because ironically, it might tell the biggest truth of all, and that's Do the Right Thing.
And that's before we get into the discourse surrounding One Battle After Another. Now, I've not seen the movie, and to be honest, it seems like I never will, so I can't speak to which one is technically better, but if we're talking about representation and cultural impact, we know. We know. But there was this interesting debate that took place as One Battle After Another featured explicitly revolutionary imagery and themes while still ultimately being directed by a white industry darling, while Coogler created a genre-bending film with culturally rich undertones and had more of a publicized and recent rise to fame, an underdog story. Well, if you can call directing 2 major franchise films in a row an underdog story. In a way, it felt like these 2 movies represented 2 opposing sides in a culture war. On one side, the institution, the exact kind of movie the Academy loves to reward because it feels dangerous without actually threatening anything. And on the other, the new guard. Sinners was less outright revolutionary in its presentation, but the film's messages about race and culture were embedded into the film's DNA. Not to mention, Coogler's landmark deal for Sinners gave him first dollar gross and ownership 25 years after the film's release. It was the exact kind of move that could actually reshape the industry. So on that night, when it came down to it, as more and more names were called, as Sinners' name was passed over again and again, I saw where this was going. And as One Battle After Another's name was called for Best Picture, I had resigned myself to the truth I already knew deep down. It doesn't matter how successful, how original, how groundbreaking or culturally relevant your work is, in the end, you still have to work twice as hard to make it half as far. I've recently been working on developing my own television series, which is a friend group comedy that could reasonably be defined as like a Black Friends. And despite the fact that a Black Friends already exists, I think it's a fair description. But as I've been working on my show, there's been one question that's nagged at me. Why does my show need to exist? What void does it fill? And as important of a question as this was, I felt like it was a question that most shows, white shows, rarely feel the need to answer. They don't have to justify their existence. They don't feel the need to represent all of a single community the right way. And imagined or not, I began to feel this kind of responsibility to do right on behalf of people I've never met, to make sure my idea would open doors for people behind me, to carry the same burden as Coogler and Spike Lee before him and Oscar Micheaux before him. When you're developing a TV show, it's highly encouraged to use comps or comparable titles to give people an idea of the kind of tone or mood you're going for. It's the same with actors or settings, just something to put an executive in a similar frame of mind for what you're making. And while I was looking for comps of my friend group together, my Google search for Black Friends led me to the 2017 Jay-Z music video for Moonlight that featured a remake of Friends with an all-star black cast. And as I was writing this video, I couldn't stop thinking about the lyrics I found. We stuck in La La Land. Even when we win, we gon' lose. Even when we win, we we gon' lose. There's a reason I opened this video with that specific clip. It's a sentiment that, if you've grown up in a black household, you've heard at least once. You have to work twice as hard to get half as far. And I think that really encapsulates the struggle for so many black creatives to get their projects made. And not just made, but seen, marketed, and supported. It's the same reason that even though One Battle After Another was a box office failure, Paul Thomas Anderson was nominated for and won dozens of awards. But Is God Is, which was also unsuccessful at the box office but received rave reviews, higher ones than One Battle, it will most likely fade into obscurity and be hailed as a cult classic instead of receiving the critical due it deserves. The same reason that Sinners will forever be discussed with an asterisk instead of the respect it's earned. The same reason that white shows get time to find their footing, while black ones are cut off at the knees. Even when we win, we gon' lose. Twice as hard, half as far. And on it goes. Okay, that was a lot. That was kind of depressing. Let's bring it back. It's not all doom and gloom. Look, even though Sinners didn't win Best Picture, its cultural impact is undeniable. It was one of the highest grossing original movies of the past 10 years, one of the highest grossing horror movies of all time, and by far the highest grossing original film by a black director. But more than that, Sinners is important because of the kind of precedent that it sets. Whether he knows it or not, and I have a feeling he does, Coogler has allowed for the next black creator who wants to make a vampire movie or a Southern Gothic movie or a movie that has no genres to be able to point to his movie and say, yeah, like that. And there's his landmark deal with Warner Brothers, which we can apparently thank Tyler Perry for, by the way.
When this deal with Ryan Coogler, everybody's talking about the Sinners deal. Oh my God, he got this amazing deal. Listen, I called that brother up, as I did a lot of them. I called him up after Black Panther and I said, listen, here's how you do it.
He's now set up the previously unheard of, well, unheard of for black creatives anyway, model to allow up-and-coming creatives to negotiate their value. And it's not just about ownership through larger systems. Coogler's Proximity Media, Issa Rae's Hooray, Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions, they all give black and minority creatives in the industry a chance to develop their voice outside of near impossible to navigate conglomerates. Things are changing in the industry. Audiences are demanding originality and fresh talent over IP and franchise films. And though it may not seem like it, there is more diversity in the mainstream than ever before. Quinta Brunson had an excellent take on this that actually inspired this video.
Something I'm grateful for is the puzzle pieces of other creators, doing things. This is all a big puzzle. You're part of it, I'm part of it. When I made Abbott, that opened doors for other things to be made. Other shows have opened the doors for this to be made. Your show will open the door for other things to be made. That's why I stress the importance of good art, because it opens the doors for better art.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
And so I think that's why I get so excited about things like Sinners, because it's like I understand the doors that's going to open. That was the beauty of Insecure years ago. I don't think I would have been able to make Abbott if Insecure in Atlanta didn't exist.
You think so?
I know so. Because at the same time, I wasn't seeking to make another Insecure or another Atlanta, but those shows, the existence of those shows allowed Abbott to exist.
Right, some frame of reference for people who otherwise would have none.
Yes, so the more pieces we add to the puzzle, the more we can make what we want to make, Yeah. So I try to just wait, it's like, oh, we need some more puzzle pieces for me to make the thing that I want to make, I guess.
Hear that.
She's right. It's a puzzle. And it's not just the people we know. It's not just Ryan Coogler, Issa Rae, and Jordan Peele. It's Kenya Barris. It's Mara Brock Akil. It's Debbie Allen and Robin Thede and Lena Waithe and Dwayne Perkins and Kevin Fredericks and the Wayans family and Ramla Mohammed and Donald Glover and Courtney A. Kemp and the hundreds of other future creatives who are just a piece of the beautiful, diverse tapestry that are going to change the future of entertainment. And people are right. Good Times wasn't enough. The Cosby Show wasn't enough. Neither was Blackish or Insecure or Atlanta. And Sinners won't be enough either. But that's because they're not supposed to be. They're pieces. Every piece expands the puzzle just a little more. And I, for one, can't wait to see what the bigger picture looks like.
Been a blur. Whatever events occurred, I don't remember. Focus on the big picture. Been in search. The person in this mirror. Don't you worry. Focus on the big picture. It's so nice, just it's so nice. I'm gonna take you there, baby. Just hold on, okay?